All right, I got a message for the real people of God. What I just call Hebrews, Moors. That's what they called in the Bible. But just because you are a Hebrew Moor does not necessarily mean you are a biblical Hebrew Moor. But I wouldn't know. But I had to put that out there. All right. Now I'm gonna give you all a little history. But first off, now you see them two look strikingly alike, don't they? Like unbelievably alike. All right. So first off, I need you all to understand, because this is gonna get real serious. May 20th, 18 gonna be a big moment, spiritual moment. But I don't know what God gonna do, and I'm glad God don't always tell me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not one of them people. I think people think I do that, but I don't. I just be trying to keep people awake. But I really don't care about dates and all that stuff. But I do got to keep people awake. Bottom line, I'm gonna try to tell y'all what's up. I just don't know where to start because there's so much. Um, well, Revelation chapter 2 and Revelation chapter 3, and both of it is in 9, verse 9, in both of those chapters, talks about the people that call themselves the people of God or not, even calls them the synagogue of Satan. Now, what you see is, well, let me tell you this. When a 13th son used to be out here, he used to try to tell you about the bull. Now, all this is God's time, and somebody sent me wanted me to do a natal chart of what they say is Jesus' birthday, and they thought that they might be connected. So I didn't. So I took the two charts together. You can see that chart on the spiritual channel, and I think on all three of my channels, all my channels is in the description box. You should try to keep up with them. For anybody saying what's this got to do with this picture, well, I get there. You have to wait a second. Wait a moment. Now it's about the bull. Well, the dude on the left, his girl is 520. She that Taurus. But see, I got to tell you about her. Now, all of us got that melanin, and we all connected. That's why a lot of times, if you work at a job and you be having like strange deja vu, a lot of them people you work with is part of your soul family. Some people use the word tribe. Dolo said don't use the word family. I say soul group, soul tribe. I might still mess up and say family. I don't know. Anyway, so bottom line, 13th son kind of opened up that portal. When he came, he opened up a portal. Whether some of these cats didn't like him and didn't understand him or whatever, but he definitely opened up that portal of awakening. And that's a lot of other dudes doing, coming through as well. But he always told you about that bull. He told you about Spain. He told you about that bull is Taurus. Connects to the moon, to the Moor, and even the horns of the crescent. But whenever you're talking about the horns in the Bible, you're talking about Gabriel. A lot of cats don't know how powerful Gabriel is. Some dudes out here that do. I think Big Head Scientist kind of said it, and it's another dude out here that kind of said it. I recently came to that understanding. Gabriel is the angel of the Hebrews. He's the angel that took them through the wilderness. He's the angel that got them out of Babylon. And their Bible says 70 years. But if you read like the Apocrypha, they say longer than 70. So you just got to be careful. But you still got to know their dates, because they know what they doing too. And these people basically are what you would call white supremacists, also associated with what you call Jew. And they always knew about slavery. They knew who he was. I've already proven that. So that's why, because people don't want a long ass video. So if you're interested in anything I'm saying, you got to start going to my channels. It's in the description box. Now this brother to the left, me and him go back now. Me and him go back. But what happens is, that's why I said some of these dudes. See, I'm from Jersey, so Jersey's just different. Like, Jersey's just more on your face. Now, let me get a couple of things clear. I do have to talk about something. A lot of stuff coming out of New York, and New York is really making the East Coast look bad with all this pedophile, homo shit, and all that stuff. And I'm glad the brother on the West Coast, the guy 720, is exposing it for what it is. But I'm gonna try to tell you what's really going on. Y'all gotta understand this, because this ain't just entertainment. It's like what you take in is what you become. And what the guy 720 said is, you must be a pedophile if you keep looking at shit about pedophiles, and y'all are like all these views they get. And then the guy, and then it's another dude. He act like he anti-homo, but every time he talking, he always saying something about homo. And I understand why, but then it make me question that as well. So me, I'm trying to get away from all of that. That's why I be telling people I will start just totally ignoring videos and what I gotta do. Most of the videos I get, if I don't look at them, I'll put them into a file. But if necessary, I delete them, because you gotta get away from that vibration. That's why I say you can't say you awake 1 minute and then be listening to like that shit is demonic and it's animalistic. But there's a reason for it. So this, I'm trying to wake some of y'all up. Now I believe I'm going to wake some of y'all up. Y'all gotta realize that if it's not helping you ascend, it's causing you to descend. And everybody ain't your friend, but you may think they are. Now, getting back to the bull. So now his female is a bull, but he know how many times that number 520 popped up around a comment. Since me and this dude been talking for at least over 4 years. So he know it, but he one of them dudes, he gonna always see something a certain way. That's it. But he an Aquarius. And that's just how it is. That's just, you just gotta realize that's his personality. So he'll see it, but he won't really see it. You know what I'm saying? But you can't wait for the big boom, because it may never come. And while you thinking it ain't coming, it's right there on you. And you gotta be careful, because this ain't no joking. When I get to the main part of what I'm trying to tell y'all, because this is where it get difficult. But it's two forces y'all dealing with, and everybody know it, but they don't necessarily accept it. But when I'm saying you gotta accept it, because whatever you doing is gonna determine where you going. And that's why the Egyptians used to tell you, as a man thinks, so he is, and all this other stuff. So anyway, everything you've seen from 9/11, everything you've seen out here is these people constantly knowing who you are, and you about to wake up. Now, these people that are the people of God, you can call them the sons of God, El if you want, Angel, or whatever you want to call them. But these are people connected to God. We don't have to go all deep, because I talk about all this on my channels. So I'm not gonna go deep with it. And that's why to this day, people have always said Tupac was a prophet, Tupac was a thug angel. So many people say, oh, Tupac came in my dreams, and all kind of shit. Because that's that energy you're dealing with. You're dealing with something that's not going to be like an average human. And you see what he was able to do, and what he's still doing to this day. So that's a given. You'd have to be a fool not to see the power that man had, or has. Not just had, past tense, has, present right now. So next month, whatever go down, it's going to be more waking these people up more and more. Now, I don't know if y'all know about the 400-year prophecy. Then that's real. That's Genesis chapter 15. And I prove it, because I got the paperwork. Like, if you go to Hebrews chapter 12, that's why I studied a book of Hebrews on the spiritual channel. I think the playlist is there. But anyway, you see the book of Hebrews, you should be able to find the whole thing. But I did all 13. Now, chapters. Now, in Hebrews 12, they call it the Hebrew the church or the assembly of God. And when they took the slaves into slavery, that's exactly what they said. They said the church or the assembly or something. But they used the same words out the Bible, because they knew what they was doing. They knew they was overthrowing the people of God. And they knew they got the okay. And that's why they threw them on ships, calling the ship Jesus. And then they were singing Amazing Grace. I just did a video on that. Because Amazing Grace, if you was to read 2 Corinthians 12, where God took Paul in the darkness, called paradise. And that's Luke 23, 43 to 46 is paradise darkness. And in 2 Corinthians 12, when he was giving Paul revelations, just like he did with David in Psalm 69, taken into the deep. That's the deep darkness of God. Because God used to show up on earth as a deep darkness. Sometimes it's a dark cloud. And they called it the thick cloud. Some Bibles call it the thick gloom. So then 2 Corinthians talk about suffering, or it says sufficient. But sufficient, you got no etymology, linguistics, because it's how they use words. And he puts the word suffering with grace. My grace is sufficient. In other words, my grace, you're going to suffer. So when these devils did what they did it based on higher power. Because there's no way they could have ever taken out the people of God, because these were people of God, but they were given an okay. And you say, why would that happen? That's a long story. But they kind of allude to it on the book of Job. Now, primarily on my spiritual channel, but y'all know how I bounce around. But on my spiritual channel, I will begin to study some of the book of Job. Maybe the first chapters. I don't know what I'm going to do. Now, most people saying, what about the pictures? But that's my point. Y'all got to get past that eye shit and all that shit. Y'all going to have to start going deeper, because like God's not joking. Because at the end of the day, everybody choosing where they're going. And that's what y'all don't understand. And that's why I keep telling you, they know what they're doing. These people have taken oaths. They already know they hellbound. And that's why all they do is lie, put on coonism, put on a show, make it entertaining. And then they're going to throw some homo pictures up there. They're going to keep talking about homo, and then all kind of crazy shit. But when have any of these people ever did anything? Think about it. Has anybody ever successfully started anything that actually, like, elevated? I mean, they all talk it, but have they ever done it? So you got to really start to ask yourself some questions. And that's up to you. I'm just telling you what's in Scripture. So now we're going to get to the 520, which is this female on the left. And they are twin. There is a such thing as twin flames, twin souls. That's a fact. And that's all I do with the natal charts and stuff. Like, that's a fact. So anyway, his twin used to be out here teaching. And I just happened to find her one night. But I was told by God to find out the mystery of Thomas. I ain't know nothing about no Thomas. And I stay busy. So I was like, look, I'm busy enough. I ain't trying to find out no more mysteries. I'm tired. So she was real on point. Like, she knew her shit. She knew Egyptology. She knew all kind of shit. Like it was unbelievable. But if you saw it, like, she was unbelievably beautiful, unbelievably intelligent, and she's like a down ass chick, like, for real. So so I was trying to connect with, like, she wasn't never really connected at first, because she wasn't responding to no messages and shit. But I heard she was doing that with everybody. So I went on about my way. And then God kept saying, saw the mystery of Thomas. And I was like, I ain't know what he's talking about. And I really wasn't care, except Thomas, Jesus' twin was Thomas. And even in the book of Thomas, I think it's the Gnostics. In the book of Thomas, it's about a little girl. But a lot of times you got to understand, when the Bible be using little boys and little girls, that's showing you a new age and stuff. Like a new world coming, like in Revelation 12, the man, child, and all that. And anyway, I'm doing this video. I was doing a video one time, and I think that female, somehow she's seen it. So that's when she contacted me. And so me and her was talking for a quick minute. But somehow I got to Acts chapter 8. Now I need y'all to understand Acts chapter 8. Acts chapter 8 is about throwing down the fake temple. That's why Acts chapter 8 talk about Simon, because Simon represents white supremacy and the fake temple of God. That would be Christian, all that stuff. No disrespect to Christians, but the bottom line is you're still a product of white supremacy. And most of y'all really are what y'all would call biblical Hebrews and biblical Moors. Now, whether you choose to stay a Christian and all that, you just have to know the law. Because the law says if you're in bondage, God gives you a chance to leave. But if you choose to stay with it, then you're going to be bound to whatever that is. But I already teach all that. I'm not here right now to bash nothing. I'm just trying to wake people up. Because I already got videos on that, so I'm not going to go deep with that. So in Acts chapter 8, you show Peter more or less kicking out Simon or whatever, because that's a fake, that's white supremacy, the people that say they Jews but not, and he's kicking them out the temple, because that's where we at. See, because they the real house of God are these people. The church is the body, and they are the church, and they are the temple. These people. And that's what you see in Acts chapter 8. After Peter kicked Simon out of the temple, they start talking about the black goddess, because that's the divine darkness of Ethiopia. And this is where a lot of these priests come from. So whenever you're talking about, that's why Moses' wife was a Cushite, or East African. Some people say Ethiopia. That's what you see at Acts chapter 8. These are the priestly class. And then you see that dude named Philip. And then when the Bible talk about Philip, see, these people are about to get filled with the Holy Spirit. And there is a difference between the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit. Now, when Jesus was baptized, see, when you go down in that water, it's talking about that hell. And that's why when Jesus came to John the Baptist said, I shouldn't be baptizing you. And Jesus said, for all righteousness, do it. Because it represented going into that hell, which is what we're in now. And that's why the Bible talks about Lazarus being dead for 4 days, John 11. But it also talks about Ephraim in John 11, which is America. And then in Luke 16, they talk about hell again. But now Lazarus is no longer in hell. And now the oppressor, which is called the rich man, is now in hell. That's Luke 16. All talking about Abraham's bosom and all that. And this is why when Judas was betraying Jesus in John 13, they talking about John laying on Jesus' bosom. And you say, well, that sounds gay. But at the same time, if you understand what the bosom is talking about the underworld. So now, when Jesus came up out that water, that dove came down. Now, they might say Holy Spirit or whatever, but at the end of the day, that dove represents Christianity. Because as soon as it did, it took him right to the devil. And if you read Matthew 4, it took him to the devil. And then the first thing the devil talking about the bread and all that. But this is these people. See, if you understand the Ark of the Covenant, it got angels over top of it. And inside was the manna or the bread. But that manna in the Bible represents these angels, the food that fell from heaven. That's in the days of Moses. You got to know the Bible. You're not going to know none of this if you don't know what I'm talking about. And it's not my purpose to try to explain it in this video because it's going to be way longer than I want it to be. So now in Matthew 4, if you notice, he started talking about the temple. Satan started talking about the temple again. So it was always about these people. It's just Bible metaphors and symbols and stuff. And if you don't really study and ain't with it, you're not going to get it. But it's going to be easy for you to get caught up. And this is the warning I'm trying to give. So now you go back to that temple. So now you see Philip, which is really getting filled with the Holy Spirit. And then he shows you a baptism again. It says, see, a body of water. What prevents me from getting baptized? And then Philip takes that Ethiopia eunuch down into that water. So it's a lot of symbolism there. It's alluding to Christianity as well, but it's also alluding to the real temple of God and the cleansing of the purging of it, which is if you're all about to see it. Because I keep trying to tell you, 1619, they took us into slavery. God gave Abraham 400 years, and we come out. But he also said that the days would be cut short or shortened, which means I keep saying, spiritually speaking, we're in a red alert. And see, what I'm trying to say is when you don't get it, there's a reason why this dude looks just like Tupac. There's a reason why 520 keep popping up all over the place. And always did. He knows it. Always that number was always popped. It just popped up again recently. But see, what happens is you get so caught up on third dimensional that you can't even make it with your twin. Because y'all third dimensional. So y'all be caught up on different egos, different fears, different desires, and all kind of stuff. And it's the same way with somebody trying to tell you the truth. You keep getting distracted. And I just keep trying to tell cats that you have to be careful. So now in Acts chapter 12, see, you have to understand all it. Like you hear me talk a lot about Mexicans and stuff like that because they have a point. They have a connection. Like even with the Olmecs and all that, the ancient history. You got know Aztecs, the Mexicans, the Incas. Because right in Acts chapter 8, this is where God took me after I met his female, his twin. When we was talking on the phone, that's what I mean by met. Talking on the phone and stuff. God took me to Acts chapter 8, and right there, if you read Acts chapter 8, go to it and you see a word that looks just like Aztec, but it says AZ something. Right at the end of Acts chapter 8. See, that's all about us. Like I said, it's there if you want it. But most people don't want to receive it. You know what I'm saying? Like they really don't, or they'll receive it in the external. Like, oh, I'm going to wear this, I'm going to wear that. See, that's all external. But they don't really receive an internal. Because if they did receive an internal, you would see them start to make some type of changes. Like if you know something is your universal purpose, you would be trying to bring yourself in harmony with it. It might not be easy, but they don't. And this is why you hear all these dudes out here telling you about your natal chart. I could just name them. All these dudes you see out here talking, they all telling you about your natal chart, find out your true life purposes. So remember, Thomas was a twin to Jesus. And now you got these two dudes, almost look like twins. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. When I finally found this dude, again, I was minding my own business. Because a lot of times I'm on YouTube and you just happen to look to the right. And I look to the right, I say, yo, this dude look like Tupac. And see, even 2, you got the number 2 again. It's always going to be about twins with God. Because at the end of everything, 2 angels always come down. And this is why everybody talking about twin flames. Because the angels are flames of fire. That's Psalms 104. And then 2 angels, Genesis 19, destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. 2 witnesses come down in Revelation 11. They talking about the temple. Because that's the people of God. And then they cause fire to come down. And then a great earthquake and all that. And that's when the ascension occurs. Because God says come up. But that's after they were dead. For like 3 or 3.5 days or something. But it's still talking about the Hebrews, the real people of God. They go down, the people are rejoicing, but now these people are about to raise up, and they know it. And then Revelation 11 tells you that when it's time for these people to raise up, it's God's kingdom, that the world's going to start a war. Talking about the world becomes angry, the nations become angry, the nations become wrathful. And that's World War III. But the same thing with Messiah, he was in the ground, which is considered Christianity or the great fish. Because they said, give us a sign. He said the sign is the sign of Jonah, who was in a great fish for 3 days and 3 nights. So he was in there for 3 days or whatever that scripture say. But he was in there, but he came out early because God said he's going to cut it short. Because how you going to call yourself a merciful God if you make somebody have the full limit of their punishment? So you're supposed to cut it short or shorten it. So instead of standing there, that's the 2 days is 2,000 years of Christianity. He came out early on the 3rd day, just like these people coming out. And so when you hear all them people talking, oh, World War, and I already did another video proving my point. Even when they're talking about everything you see in the news is about us. Stormy Daniel. Stormy is the wind. God always came in a wind. That's God's judgment. And then Daniel's is the book of Daniel, where the Hebrews get released. So they're telling you in front of your face. But that's why I said, but you on some silly. You talking about, so-and-so said this about so-and-so. So-and-so slept with so. You talking silly. So you dumb down. And you got to understand what you're talking about is what you become. And this is what they don't get. Like, it's just something about people where they just try to be arrogant. Where they think they're going to be stronger or smarter than God. So, and like I said, female, she like, because Cali, in California, the reason why they really don't, they always messing up Cali and stuff, because that was one of the hardest locations to overthrow. And it was women. A lot of y'all don't know about the history of Cali. Just like they be always talking about the going up the Atlantic. They be talking about the Amazons and stuff like that. But see, at one time it was all connected, one way or another. If it was seas that divided, they were still connected through ships or whatever. And plus, people had supernatural power like telekinesis, telepathy and stuff. And then sometimes they say like the Earth at one time. I don't know how far long ago in the past, but at one time the Earth didn't have all this water. They said a lot of that water came after the flood. I don't know. But what I'm trying to tell you, this was a massive program to overthrow the people of God. And then once they overthrew it, it was just changing history, destroying evidence and everything. But they had a problem with Cali because those women, they couldn't overthrow them women. The women was real powerful, and that's why to this day they hate Cali. And if anybody ever know Cali women, they just something just more unique about them, and that's where she's from. Like his twin is from Cali, and I know a lot of females out Cali. So what I'm trying to tell you, all this power is still here, but it's just resonant. But his female is extremely powerful. Just like mine is real powerful. My twin is real powerful, unbelievably. So all this happened for a reason. But people got to focus on what's going on now. As far as God's saying. Because what I'm trying to tell you, I say this for the last because this is going to be the most difficult to accept. But when you study the Bible, even you could just read Genesis 15. It's all about the darkness and all presence of God. Because Abraham's people, and all you need is the book of Job. See, they were, at one point, they were with God. And Gabriel was the ruler over all of them. But a lot of them fell off. Which was like being disobedient to God. So the punishment for that was hell. But God made a way for them not to go to fiery hell. But they've gone to hell on earth. By the people. Now the people that oppressed them, the ones I already named, I'm not going to keep naming them. Because I'm not trying to be racial. I'm just telling you facts. Now those people getting ready to go into real hell. They're going into fiery hell. And that's why I said, when you understand what the Bible is telling you, that's why God always showed up in fire and darkness and all that. But he was always telling them people, his people, that y'all should be burning in hell. And that's why Messiah is so important. And even for Hebrews who don't accept Messiah, at some point they're going to have to. Because they suffered in hell on earth. And that's why people have to be careful. Because you keep wanting what this devil want. Or what that devil got. But even Bobby Hemming used to tell you. Because I'm keeping it 100. There's no way you're going to walk with no spirit God when you're materialistic. And Bobby Hemming used to warn. He used to tell people why they couldn't understand what he was talking about, why they can't get it. He said, you say you do what you do for your children. He said, but all your children really need is food, clothing, and your love. They don't need no big ass and all that. So these people get distracted. But guys are not joking. It's always, all you got to do is read Genesis 15. That's why it went all dark and he talking about horror and all that. It's always been about hell. And that's why some people read Genesis chapter 1 tells you if you really read it, it was actually a civilization on earth before that. What you're looking at when you read Genesis chapter 1 is a civilization that was destroyed. And now God's bringing it back up. But you figure that one out. But all I'm saying, all you got to do is read Genesis 15. You can tell it's still talking about hell. And that's why when Messiah came, that's when the Bible started talking about hell again. That's all he talked about when you get to the book of Matthew. So it's not a white, like you think it's a white-black thing. No, not really. Like they were being used by God. But a lot of stuff they gave you is still true. Now, if you knew your stuff, you could separate, you could tell the difference between what's a lie and what's really from God. Because it's a lot of lies, and they do manipulate the Bible and stuff like that. But that don't mean that the book itself is untrue. It just means that you need somebody to know what it's talking about. And that's another thing, because people don't want, oh no, why we need him? I don't have to listen to him. So it's going to go on. That's why I said, the purpose of this video is trying to get proof. But like, if you're the type of person that you don't understand, if you don't take proof down or you don't study, you're never going to get it. And then I got to watch myself, because I ain't having nobody around me that don't get this. Because this is what it is. Now, no disrespect, there is a priesthood, a Melchizedek priesthood, but that's at the end. That's at the burning. If you just study your Bible, this is how you would know. Genesis 14, Genesis 18, Genesis 19. Especially Genesis 14 and 19 is the same event. But the way they wrote it, you think it's two different events. But it's all about Sodom and Gomorrah, warfare, taking the spoil, and saving Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the same event. And that's why Melchizedek showed up at the end when it was all over. And even when you study at the cross, they say they cast lots. See, they're talking about us because of the cat. Anything with lots and casting will always be these angels that was cast out of heaven or cast out of the presence of God. It's not that difficult. And this is what you would call your Hebrews and your melanated and all that. It's not really that difficult. So Melchizedek don't show up until the end. And that's the new priesthood, which is spirit. And that's why I say people may mean well, they may not mean well. I really don't know. But it's easy to get distracted because, like I said, you want to touch and feel. You want to touch and feel, and you want to put on a robe and walk around like you're somebody important, when you should be getting ready for what God's doing. Because ain't no Melchizedek until the end. That's spirit. That's why he came out of nowhere and he left out of nowhere. They said he ain't have no mother, ain't have no father, all that. So that's what's coming. That's the future, which is about to happen. They don't understand how close it is. And that's another reason why people, because they don't believe it's that close. And they really think they're going to get a chance to see like a big war or something like that they don't have time to do it. But he's coming in the spirit. He's coming in the spirit. These devils is going into the fire, literal fire. So whether it's a nuclear war, whatever it is, it's still going to be fire. It's eternal damnation. And that's where they're going. And when I did that natal chart about that Jesus Christ birthday, if you notice, Taurus was a center thing. I think that was Jesus's, according to that chart, that's his true north node. But again, you would have to really listen to the chart and study, and people ain't going to do that. They'll turn it on real quick and look at it, but of course you ain't going to get it. Just like I said, people telling me to send them a transcript. Why would I send you a transcript? You got the whole video. Take notes. It's just laziness. And then they say, or somebody say, oh, don't say lazy. What is it then? They say it's not lazy. Well, I guess it is, but still, it's lazy. It's lazy. We're not going to do that here. We're not going to keep making excuses and justifying shit. That's why we're in the situation we're in. Keep justifying shit you shouldn't be doing. If you want the information, take notes like everybody else. And as far as sending notes about making extra requests, I think I do way more than enough. How about you send some cash so I can pay some bills? Because I think I'm doing way enough. So don't sit there and try to put further demands on me and never give nothing back. You should be thanking God you even got the information in the first place. So now, hell is real. A lot of these people you see, they may look like you. You may resonate with them, but a lot of these people are hell-bound. And everybody knows when anybody dealing with their world, entertainment world, whatever world it's in, since the days of slavery, you've been their fuckboys. That's all they do to you. Fuck you, use you, make money, or pimp you out. Now you might be able to come out of that back room where you just got dogged out, acting like you were a tough gangster rapper or a witty comedian or a great actor. That's why I said, as soon as you get into acting, you got a dress on. You know how many people said I ain't wearing no dress? Then now they got the dress on. So they constantly tell you what you are. But if that's what people are resonating with, this is what the dude was trying to tell you, the guy 720. If you resonate with this buffoonery, cooning, pedophiles, girly men, if you resonate with that, then that's where you're going. And all them cats is hellbound. They already took that oath. And you see very few of them coming out. This is why Craig Mack was so important in the news. Because he actually tried his best to get out, to do anything to get out that oath. And that's why, soon as Craig Mack died, around the same time Craig Mack was about to die, it's the same time they got Overcomer for being a pedophile and some other stuff. That Brother Stare. All this stuff is universal. And then there's some weird stuff going around. Once again, Tupac. Because they say that night that Tupac got shot, Craig Mack was supposed to be the opening act at Club 662. And 662 is 666. Because 2 sixes is 666. Now, whether they're saying I know 666 because I'm melanated. And that's 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. I know about my I know who I am. Or they're saying I'm 666 because I took an oath to serve the devil. And I'm hellbound. You figure that shit out. I'm not going to do it. Because even if I told you what it was, you still going to go by what you think. So my point is, there's a reason for everything, but you still got to think. That's the best I could tell you. But personally, I strongly would not advise making it a habit out of anybody who took the oath. That wouldn't be somebody I would regularly be checking out or whatever else. And some people say, well, you don't understand. It's other societies that are working too. And that could be, like I said, that could be the it's a possibility that some of these dudes maybe, who knows. But as one rapper, ever since he came out in the early 90s, ever since he been out, he always was associated with Ampu Anubis. That's the person who runs hell in Egyptology. Same thing as saying Satan. That's Seti. That's the guy's name. Seth or Set, but they call him Seti too. Set, Seti, all these names, Satan, Saturn, all these are connected with hell. And now all of a sudden he just came out of nowhere and made a gospel album. But he goes back and forth. So you need some type of guidelines. Because otherwise you're following people who already took that oath and whatever else. And like, if there's some hidden knowledge, I don't know. Because even like, y'all got to ask yourself why the Black Panther movie resonated so much. That movie resonated even with white people. And they say Black Panther, it knocked the Titanic out its spot. Because these are like the top 5 highest paying movies. And whatever spot Titanic had, Black Panther has exceeded that. So that's some deep stuff to see that. But that's metaphysical. That's telling you the consciousness is changing. And that these people are coming out. Now, my job is just to preach whatever knowledge I got. But what I'm warning people, you still have to be careful. Because I don't know. Like I said, just things I don't know. I don't think God would be wanting you to be associated, even in just your mind, with pedophiles and shit like that. And the one thing I'm trying to stress is it is a hell. And I'm trying to show what happened. The people of color went through hell on earth because they were supposed to be going to fiery hell, but God made a way for them. So when they talk about the bosom, that's God protecting you. That's why he told it. If you go to Genesis chapter 4, put your hand in your bosom. And then when he did it, it was white like leprosy. Take your hand out, then it became another color. So that word bosom it's also called paradise. It's God's protecting location for his people. So I want to look at that real quick, and I'm going to end this video. Because I want to make sure if he said the word bosom. when he was talking to Moses. Yep. Exodus chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. He said Bosom. So that's paradise. That's the God protecting his people. And by him telling Moses, thine hand, in the Bible, when God talks about that hand, a lot of times it's talking about Gabriel. The right hand, or the hand of righteousness, is Gabriel. And Gabriel was over them people the whole time. So when you read Exodus chapter 4, verse 6 and 7, you're hearing God telling Moses that there's going to be a deliverance to these people, but they're going to suffer through leprosy or white supremacy first. And then in Genesis 15, he told them they're going to suffer for 400 years, and then I'm going to bring them out, and I'm going to judge the nation. And the judge is Gabriel. Gabriel is a judge. He's very powerful in the Bible. So that's why I said this is on record of what it is. Now somebody else will keep talking some other stuff, and just because there might be a people of color in a hidden or mystical or secret organization, but you still would need to know if they're going to hell or not. Because of course it's going to look cool. It's supposed to look cool. It's a distraction. It's a temptation. So you think you down with something because you don't want to do what you should have did, was walk in the spirit. But you hell bound with something. And like I said, there's a reason for everything. And sometimes you can get caught up. See, me, I knew for a fact when my twin flame situation started, I already knew the spirit was coming first. So if somebody ain't really talking within the spirit, I already know. I wasn't following it because that's just going to be a temptation, a distraction. Like once you really realize hell is real, you may think more seriously. But since you don't see it, you don't smell it, you don't feel it, you don't fear it. And so you think you got a right to do whatever you want, but then that's going to be the person screaming out and burning in hell. So there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why the number 520 keeps popping up. That's her birth date as well. Because they're telling you about May, a portal or a change. I won't say portal, I'll say a change is taking place rather than the spirit of physical. But for spiritual people to know the promise of 400 years, we know we're in a spiritual red alert. And then, you can take it any way you want. But if you find yourself still fraternizing with people who are still out in this world, then see, it's supposed to be a wake-up time. And if a lot of people ain't waking up, then that's a danger too. Now, what may happen is when we go into spirit, that's when these people will finally wake up. Because you're not going into the kingdom of God on no coonism, on no other stuff that God says these type of people ain't going to inherit the kingdom. So the only other thing is, because he made a covenant with Abraham, and these people have already suffered for 400 years in this hell on earth, then they may just change. And so, but I can't say that's going to definitely happen. I'm always going to tell cats to unwalk in the spirit, like I've always told them. And you need to distance yourself from anybody else who is. And it doesn't matter, because a lot of stuff you see coming off your TV and in your music, a lot of that's fabricated. So like a lot of stuff you see on YouTube, ain't no real beef. It's fabricated. That's why 1 minute they friends, next minute they beefing. They all got each other's numbers and addresses, but ain't nobody doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now, you ain't never seen no stuff like that. Because if you really wanted somebody bad enough, you knew where they live, that's a done deal. So it's a lot of foolishness out here, and it's a distraction because I keep telling you, people are hellbound, and if you resonate with that frequency, you're gonna be hellbound too. So at this particular point in time, that's all information I have. I would strongly advise people to walk in spirit, like the word told you to do. Distance yourself from anyone or anything that's not telling you to walk in spirit, and definitely anything that's coonism and all that stuff. Be careful, because like I said, a lot of these dudes have taken oaths, and I just happen to be, I don't know what I was doing. Sometimes I get real busy, so I think I watched one video which led to another video that led to another video, and then it was Umar Johnson was there, and then he was talking about some alleged beef he had with Pharaoh. But one of Umar's people said, well, Pharaoh didn't believe all that stuff until he went to prison. And they said, we think in prison they made a deal with him. And then he could be an agent. And then right away, Umar said, oh, no. Like, no, I don't think he's no agent. So you just gotta know. You just gotta know, are they really beefing, or is it some more coonism, some more distraction? Because why are you so protective when he said that? And it would be logical if somebody go away and they get out. Like I said, anytime anybody goes somewhere, like one dude got caught with a lot of guns, was supposed to do a lot of time, and then he's out after a little bit of time. See, some type of deals have been made. Don't ever think that there's no way you can walk. Some type of deal has been made. So again, you got to be careful. So, but if you were doing what God said, you wouldn't be concerned with that, because that's considered the world. From God's viewpoint, you would be considered with the spirit, because that's what God is. So that's the final thing. You can either get distracted, which will put you on the same road that they're on, the people you kind of like following. You're going to be on the same road they on. And that's why Jesus said it's a broad road to destruction. And destruction ain't just destruction, it's hell. Bible makes that clear. Or you're going to be on a spiritual road, which at least you're moving forward. Might not be as glamorous and not all that stuff they got and all that, but at least you're moving forward and you ain't got to worry about burning in hell for eternity. So that would be something that I'd be checking into. You understand? I would be checking into hellfire, learning more about hell and stuff like that, as opposed to looking at what New York doing, or who said what about all that coonism stuff. Because, like I said, there's no way that type of activity is going to be in the presence of God. God bless.